17. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by a posting on the bulletin board in Village Hall, by mail to the Ridgewood News, the Record, and by submission to all persons entitled to same, as provided by law, of a schedule including the date and time of this meeting. Roll call.
Councilman Halshay.
Here.
Councilman Seaton.
Here.
Councilman Voigt.
Here.
Councilwoman Walsh.
Here.
Mayor Newton.
Here. Please stand for the flag salute. Please join us in a moment of silence for men and women serving our nation and our first responders. Thank you. All right, great. We're just going to start with some administrative items. I move the bills, claims, and vouchers and statements of funds on hand as of October 31st, 2017 be accepted as submitted.
Second.
Halshay.
Yes.
Seaton.
Yes.
Voigt.
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes. I move that the Village Council minutes of May 24th, 2017 and October 11th, 2017, having been reviewed by the Village Council, now available in the Village Clerk's office, be approved as submitted.
Second.
Halshay.
Yes.
Seaton.
Yes.
Voigt.
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes. And this evening, we're going to have a presentation by Mothers Against Drunk Drivers to Ridgewood police officers. Okay. Do we have...
Chief, are we ready?
Are we ready? Chief Leckie, are we ready?
Okay.
Okay, so I'll tell you what.
We'll move on.
Why don't we go on to public comment, and then we'll circle back. Okay, great. So we'll go to public comment, not to exceed 3 minutes per person for a total of 40 minutes. Please come to the microphone, state your name and address. Good evening.
Good evening. Warwick Holiday, 374 Evergreen Place. The session we had before was terrific, actually. I was so happy that League of Women
Rorik, I'm
Voters...
sorry.
Is the microphone on?
Speak? I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry.
Could you just, is the microphone on?
Yeah.
Okay,
This
great.
is on? Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I just wanted to say how much I appreciate what the League of Women Voters did by inviting the senator and the gentleman from New Jersey Fog. And because to me, transparency is more than a word. And frankly, if there's something that ails our council, is that some of you think that transparency is just a word. Transparency reflects honesty. If you don't have transparency, you don't have honesty. So it's something we should all work on. Now, one of the things I wanted to ask, and I couldn't, was the fact that every time I ask for an Oprah request, I get the runaround. This idea that it's deliberative. I mean, I can imagine, as far as I'm concerned, everything should be open and available with some exceptions. If you're negotiating a contract with a policeman, that I understand. But the idea that you'd be exchanging drawings of the only thing I do have is I am for Ridgewood, and it just pains me to see what's happening with this council over the last couple of years. Now, it is important, and Mr. Rogers, you have to take a lead here, because you remember, you are beholden to me as a resident, not to the mayor as a mayor. And so you have to look after my interests. When I say me and mine, I'm talking about me as a village resident. And so when they come up with nonsense about this deliberative stuff, you need to take a position. Now, I realize the pressure that people come under when we have a mayor who is as strong as and as domineering as this present mayor, who, if you don't behave yourself and do what she says, you'll have a big X on your back and out you get.
You know, I'm going to take exception with that, and I'm going to point of order. This is totally inappropriate, unacceptable, and simply not true. It's gratuitous
Well,
and
it is-
unacceptable.
it is-
I'm
it
calling a
is my
point of order.
opinion.
I am
Point of
calling a
order.
point
It
of
is
order.
my
Point of
opinion,
order.
and
Mr. Hallaby, point of order.
Meaning what?
Point of order. We're not doing personal attacks here, and we're not attacking a member of our staff. Thank you. A professional, no less, that you would,
I am giving
you would undermine
advice
him.
as a
I'm calling a point
taxpayer.
of order, Mr. Hallaby.
Listen,
Thank
you are interfering in my rights to express myself. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Oh, come. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm here.
Oh,
Your
could you
name
just
and
state
address?
your name and address, please?
Sure. Name is Ketan Patel, 416 Colwell Court. I'm here to talk about sidewalks. I think it's great that some of the neighborhoods have sidewalks. Schools encourage kids to walk to school, and I see a lot of people walking in town and various neighborhoods. However, there are some streets where there are not adequate sidewalks, and particularly artery roads like West Glen. I continually see people struggling to walk on the road. There's a lot of traffic. The road is not flat. It's a hill, so cars are, accelerating down the road. So I just want to urge the town to kind of review the sidewalks. And I guess a couple of issues that I notice on that road is whatever is there is in disrepair. There are holes everywhere. Whatever was put in was barely adequate, maybe like a foot wide or 2 feet wide. So if anyone is there with, let's say, a stroller or anything, can't actually use what's there. I think as kids get older, there's a desire for them to go into town from different neighborhoods, and these artery roads kind of provide access into town and other parts of the town. So I feel like it presents a greater risk as they start to move around town. Some kids in that neighborhood in the west side should try to walk to high school or ride their bikes, and I've seen kids try to use the road sometimes as groups, and I cringe when I'm driving on the road and I see kids kind of, coming onto the road, not having any space. So I don't necessarily, my view on how that can progress is whatever is there, I think should be kind of improved. And wherever there is no sidewalk, but like occasionally there are sidewalks that just abruptly end, and then you have to basically cross the street and then cross back depending on how the road. So I would encourage the town to kind of review and see if there's a possibility to improve or connect the whole road. So,
Thank you. And you're going to email me?
yes.
And when you
Yes.
do, if you don't mind, just
Yeah.
look up Councilwoman Walsh's email and copy her, if you don't mind, if that's not too
Yeah,
much trouble.
I mean, I've taken some pictures where I've kind of felt that, there was, the track team or crew team or whatever it was trying to use the road. Okay,
Thank you. Come. Name and address?
Yes, sure.
Good
Lizette
evening.
Ramos, 351 Gilbert Street. Is this the portion where we will be asking to replace the yield sign with the stop sign on Gilbert and Hope?
Yeah, you're Gilbert Street. Welcome,
Yes.
Gilbert Street crew. Hello.
my
Okay,
neighbors.
so yeah, this is public comment. You won't, is that on,
The best time to do it is during the public
yeah,
hearing.
so when we call public hearing, then there'll be an opportunity for you to come up and speak to the public hearing to state one way or the other, which we kind of know already where you're at with it. But
Thank
once
you.
we call the public hearing, you'll hear Gilbert Street.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. With that, we will close public hearing. Public comment, I'm sorry, and I'm just looking at the chief. Is anyone here yet? Okay. What do you want to do? Yeah. Okay. That's good. We're all good. All right. So we're going to come down there as well? Okay, great.
We use a microphone?
So we're here this evening to say thank you to Officers Michael Karcher and Kyle Monton. They are the individuals in our department this year that made the most number of DWI stops. They were recognized by Mothers Against Drunk Driving, which was started to help the individuals who were affected by the drunk driving accidents, and they have helped numerous families, and they have reduced drunk driving deaths through education and training by approximately 50% since they started in 1980. So tonight, again, it is just a thank you to Officers Karcher and Monton.
Thank you. Okay, and with that, we are moving on to the village manager's report.
I'd like to alert the public to the new parking allocations in the municipal lot adjacent to Village Hall. We've added signage to define the allocations, and I'm asking everyone to adhere to the rules that will benefit everyone's experience visiting Village Hall and going to the library. We've delineated spaces for the playground, for our parking enforcement officers, for visiting Village Hall for short periods of time, like 1 hour, for visiting the library. So we're hoping that these will help us to better allocate where employees and long-term parkers are parking within this lot. Veterans Day is this Saturday, November 11th. In honor of our veterans service, American Legion Post number 53 will hold a service in Memorial Park at Van Ness Square at 11 a.m. again on Saturday. Bergen County Executive James Tedesco and the Board of Chosen Freeholders invite all Bergen County veterans and active duty military to play a round of golf on any Bergen County course free of charge in recognition of Veterans Day on Friday, November 10th or Saturday, November 11th. In observance of Veterans Day, Village Hall and all village offices will be closed Friday, November 10th. Sanitation and recycling will not be picked up that day, and the recycling center is closed. The recycling center will be open on Saturday, though, from 9 to 3. To honor all Ridgewood veterans, I will read a list of our employees here in the village who are serving and protecting our freedoms, or who have done so in the past by serving in the armed forces. James Jackson Loney, SPF 4, U.S. Army, Water Pollution Control. Paul Abelnese, PFC, U.S. Marine Corps, Plumbing Inspector. Michael Caffarelli, SP 4, U.S. Army, Planning Board Secretary. Ed Bethune, Corporal, U.S. Marine Corps, Supervisor of Sanitation. Thomas Yaka, Chief Petty Officer, U.S. Coast Guard, construction official. Justin O'Connor, Sergeant, U.S. Army, firefighter. Matt Bombay, Sergeant, U.S. Marine Corps, firefighter. Jason Kane, Senior Airman, U.S. Air Force, firefighter. Tim Bombay, Sergeant, Army National Guard, firefighter. Oscar Martinez, CWO2, Army National Guard, firefighter. Chris Meade, First Lieutenant, Army National Guard, firefighter. Christopher Eichen, Petty Officer, Second Class, U.S. Coast Guard, firefighter. Tom Landers, Second Lieutenant, U.S. Air Force, recycling. Glenn Ender, Petty Officer, Third Class, U.S. Coast Guard, Police Lieutenant. Miguel Torres Lopez, Staff Sergeant, U.S. Marine Corps, Police Officer. Hector Perez Jr., Senior Airman, U.S. Air Force, Police Officer. And Brian Pullman, Staff Sergeant, U.S. Army. We had some surplus vehicle sales. Some of our vehicles have been disposed of by using GovDeals, which is an online auction site. We have a wide variety of vehicles, and most of them are in medium to poor condition. We have, however, sold 3 vehicles in poor condition so far for a total of $6,500. The leaves, once again, I just want to remind everyone the yellow postcards were mailed out to everyone about your leaf placement dates. Those dates on the card are the dates you place your leaves in the street. Please do not place your leaves in the street until the next set of dates comes up. Those are not the collection dates, those are the dates you place them in the street. You can check our village's website, click on leaf season, it's the falling leaves. That will show you when you put out your leaves. The Central Valet Service at Van Ness Square, it's available every Friday and Saturday night. It's a public valet service. Many people who have come up have wondered what the event is going on. Why is there valet parking at Van Ness Square? It's for anyone who wants to use it. It's $5 per vehicle. It's from 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. And some businesses are considering covering the cost for their customers. This will continue through the end of the year. It's a great service. We started out 2 weekends ago, and we've had between 10 and 18, and I have to say on Saturday night we had 24 cars. So more and more people are using it and saying great things about it. And I've seen everyone from older people who perhaps can't walk as far in the CBD to people with young families who just want to be able to park and go straight to where they want to go and not have to, walk a long distance with their young children. So I encourage you to try it. A free Elder Thanksgiving dinner is being offered, including transportation to senior citizens in Ridgewood. It will take place at the Old Paramus Reformed Church this Sunday, November 12th. Reservations are required, and all food, entertainment, and volunteers are donated for this event. A community Thanksgiving service is sponsored by the Ridgewood Interfaith Group and scheduled for Tuesday, November 21st at the Old Paramus Reformed Church at 7:30 p.m., and all are welcome. Reminder, the village has the estate card. It's a new property tax saving program now available to Ridgewood property owners. The program offers a debit-like card, and what you do is you shop locally and you get rewards, which will then be applied to reduce your Ridgewood property taxes. An even greater level of reward is offered at certain times. Certain merchants, with Black Friday coming up shortly, they may offer bigger incentives for you to shop locally. There's a new feature to this card. The cardholder does not have to preload the $800 each month onto the debit card. They simply have to make a transaction at least once every other month. So please look into this. We do have something on the village website about it, or visit ridgewoodestateCard.com to learn more. It gives a listing of local merchants as well as online merchants who are participating in this endeavor. The farmers market has extended their operation through Sunday, November 19th. The market is held from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Sundays at the Ridgewood train station parking lot. I also want to remind residents that the Bergen County Utilities Authority will be collecting household hazardous waste Saturday, November 18th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. They are located on Empire Boulevard in Moonachie, and it's rain or shine. Household waste, hazardous household waste can include such things as paint thinners, some chemicals used around the house, turpentine, also various other types of things that are not, truly hazardous, but cannot just be put into the regular garbage. And as a reminder, I just also want to remind everyone, all village offices will be closed both November 23rd and November 24th in observance of the Thanksgiving holiday.
Okay, great. Moving on to council reports. Councilman Boyd?
Thank you. The planning board met last night. There were two items that were on the agenda. One was a minor reconfiguration of lot lines located on 144 North Murray. It resulted in a diminution of the non-conforming variances, and it was approved unanimously. The other was more of a major site plan, which is located at 200/210 South Broad, which is the lot that's slightly south of the Brogan site, where the Dayton development's going to be, and it's on the west side of the street. There continues to be an issue as it relates to the number of parking spots. I think they're planning for 10. I think the particular development's going to need at least 30. And so we've asked them the applicant to kind of think outside the boxes to figure out where they're going to get those additional 20 parking places for what's to be a physician's office, actually 2 physician offices on that particular site. So they're going to be back, we believe, either December 5th or January 16th, 2018. The next planning board meeting is scheduled for November 21st. I did want to second Heather's discussion on the Elder Thanksgiving dinner. I wanted to thank some of the sponsors. I know there's the Ridgewood Parks and Rec, the Old Paramus Church, Health Barn, No Fuss Lunch, Ridgewood Senior Housing, Age-Friendly Ridgewood Share, and Whole Foods Markets that the people are donating, and just wanted to thank them for the generosity. So that's it. Thanks.
Great. Thank you. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. Briefly, the only thing I have is that the Shade Tree Commission put together a great discussion that was happening today at 7 o'clock over at the library. There's a lot going on today. It seems pretty busy. But it focused on urban forestry. We had a gentleman by the name of Andrew Hillman, who is an urban forestry expert, and he was good enough to even come in early at about 5:30 or so, and he took the Shade Tree Commissioners with him downtown to do a walk around and actually look at the tree wells that we're dealing with, to give everybody some specific information and some tips that we could use to increase the viability of trees that we plant in the central business district, and what we could do to remodel these tree wells to have a better survival rate of the trees that we plant. So I would just like to thank him and the Shade Tree Commission. I got there a little bit late with another commissioner that I met here, so we drove down there and met everybody and then came back and came here and then back to the library. But it was a really good discussion, and I think we have a lot of good insight into redesigning the tree wells downtown moving forward. So I'd just like to say that.
Thank you. Councilman Walsh? Councilman Hache?
Not much to report in terms of the committees, but I did go back to the Chamber of Commerce this morning. We had a monthly meeting to talk about some of the things that we discussed last week. And certainly they're in favor of anything that will simplify the code in our B1, B2 zones. Again, they're in support of, encouraging us to go with the site plan exemption committee instead of the going before the board, and obviously keeping in mind the balance of uses for any approvals going forward. We also talked about sidewalk decorations. There was strong support. It was basically unanimous. They do support businesses finding unique ways to kind of decorate their storefronts. There's something sort of sterile about having downtowns that don't really project that sort of holiday spirit or whatever the time of the year is. So they're very supportive of that. Always keeping in mind, however, the safety of having enough clearance for pedestrians to be able to walk through and having no obstructions. But they certainly welcome it. They're always looking to promote the downtown, obviously, and the vibrancy of it. And their concern is that if we don't simplify the code and if we don't do enough to kind of let the businesses, express themselves in certain ways, that downtown will start to look a little bit, faded and dead. So that was their support.
Great. Thank you. So I have a couple things, but just before I go to my reports, I just wanted to continue on that thought with the Downtown Central Business District. The Site Plan Exemption Committee, which we call SPEC, did meet recently, and it's a very seamless process. It's a system that we put in place to simplify the application process at the planning board. And so they are doing quite well with the SPEC committee. And I know last week at the end of the meeting, I think there was a public comment regarding some of our initiatives downtown, and a suggestion was made that we're actually tying the hands of businesses. And I wanted to say that our effort has been actually to simplify the code and to allow businesses to have opportunity. And I've been serving between the Board of Adjustment, Planning Board, and Historic Preservation Commission for quite a number of years, so I'm quite familiar with the codes, what those restrictions are, and where the difficulties are. And so I'm bringing that to the table to help businesses, not to further tie their hands. So just so we're all clear on that. Let's see. The Special Project Task Force met Monday evening. The Deputy Mayor joined us. They are continuing their detailed study of the energy costs throughout the village. It's really a daunting task, but they are moving along at an amazing clip, and we anticipate they'll have a full report shortly. It's so complicated because they're actually looking at stacks and stacks and stacks of bills because the way the billing is done, and just the staff time alone that's put into sorting through that alone would save money. So they are working on that. They've also broke out into two groups, and so one group will continue with the energy cost study, and another one I compiled all of our traffic reports. I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice. I have a sore throat. I took all of my traffic studies from the past probably about 4 or 5 years. We compiled them all together, and they're actually doing a detailed analysis of those traffic studies to see if there are any discrepancies or where there are similarities to see. And I think that once we have that data compiled, what we'll do is share it forward and also probably hand it off to Citizen Safety Advisory Committee, because it will be an invaluable tool for you to move forward with how you look at safety initiatives. The interfaith community met yesterday morning at 8 a.m. and I was present to fill the interfaith community in on what's going on at the planning board with housing development projects, initiatives, and there was quite a discussion about some of the happenings around the village. As always, the interfaith community was sensitive and thoughtful with all their comments, and they continue to work on behalf of the village as a whole. There was also a discussion about future candlelight vigils and how to best handle those with so many things going on in the world and the country, and it seems sadly, almost every week we have a reason to have a candlelight vigil, and as things progress, less and less people attend. And so we were kind of brainstorming suggestions as to how you could do maybe one moment of silence village-wide, something that really is moving and brings that kind of sensitivity forward as a whole within the community. HPC, Historic Preservation Commission, meets tomorrow night downstairs in the garden room. Please note the different time. We're trying to start our meetings at 7:30 rather than 8 o'clock, because at 8 p.m. we start and they tend to run very late. And the Master Plan Subcommittee took a break from last night. We did not hold a meeting because we were really excited. We have a RFP out for a visioning process, and so once we have the responses back on that RFP, we'll be able to better understand how we'll approach the visioning process. And that's really a very exciting moment, because that's a community-wide effort to better understand the future of the village and what people expect the village to look like 20, 30, 40, 50 years. So this is really future planning for the village of Ridgewood. So we're really, really excited about that. And we will meet again in 2 weeks at 6:30 as usual. And with that, that's the end of my report. We're moving on to Ridgewood Water. We have no ordinances this evening, so we're moving on to the consent agenda.
The following resolutions, numbered 17-331 through 17-335, will be adopted by a consent agenda with one vote by the Village Council. They will be read by title only. Establish interest rates for delinquent payments to the water utility for 2017 and set grace period for payment of water utility bills. Accept Ridgewood Water annual maintenance fee. Award additional contract, infrared asphalt surface and miscellaneous repairs. Award professional services contract, design services, Ames tank rehabilitation. Authorize change order, Lafayette Reservoir improvements. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Hache?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes. Moving on from there, we're going to have our first introduction of ordinance 3623. I move the first reading of ordinance 3623.
Second.
Hache?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes, so ordered. Will clerk please read ordinance 3623 by title?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 265 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, Vehicles and Traffic, at Section 265-59, Schedule 9, Stop Intersections, and at Section 265-60, Schedule 10, Yield Intersections.
I move that ordinance 3623 be adopted on first reading and that December 13th, 2017 be fixed as the date for the hearing thereon.
Second.
Hache?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes. I move the first reading of ordinance 3624.
Second.
Hache?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes, so ordered. Will clerk please read ordinance 3624 by title?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 265 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, Vehicles and Traffic, at Section 265-59, Schedule 9, Stop Intersections.
I move that ordinance 3624 be adopted on first reading and that December 13, 2017 be fixed as the date for the hearing thereon.
Second.
Hache?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
Newton.
Yes. I move the first reading of ordinance 3625.
Second.
Hache?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes, so ordered. Will clerk please read ordinance 3625 by title?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 190 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood at Section 122E, entitled Signs in the B1, B2, and C districts, to create a new subsection 190-122E7, entitled Interior Displays, and amend Section 190-3, entitled Definitions, as it pertains to sign, and add a new definition of interior display.
I move that ordinance 3625 be adopted on first reading and that December 13th, 2017 be fixed as the date for the hearing thereon.
Second.
Hache?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes. Moving on to public hearings, I move the clerk read ordinance 3618 by title and second reading, and the public hearing thereon be open.
Second.
Hache?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
Newton.
Yes, will the clerk please read the title of ordinance 3618?
An ordinance to fix the salary, wage, or compensation of and for the supervisory employees of the Village of Ridgewood, County of Bergen, and State of New Jersey.
Public hearing is now open. Okay. I move the public hearing be closed.
No, not yet, not yet. We'll let you know.
I'm sorry. Oh, all right. I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Hache?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes.
I move that ordinance 3618 be adopted on second reading and final publication as required by law.
Second.
Hache?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes. We're going to let you know when, okay? It's all good. All right. I move the clerk read ordinance 3619 by title and the second reading, and the public hearing thereon be open.
Second.
Hache?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes, will the clerk please read the title of ordinance 3619?
An ordinance to fix salaries, wages, and other compensation of non-union employees of the Village of Ridgewood, County of Bergen, and State of New Jersey for the year 2017.
Okay. Public hearing is now open. I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Hache?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes.
I move that ordinance 3619 be adopted on second reading and final publication as required by law.
Second.
Hache?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes, I move the clerk read ordinance 3620 by title on second reading, that the public hearing thereon be open.
Second.
Hache?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes, will the clerk please read the title of ordinance 3620?
An ordinance to fix salaries, wages, and other compensation and to establish the employee agreement of certain non-union officers and employees of the Village of Ridgewood, County of Bergen, and State of New Jersey for the year 2017.
Public hearing is now open. I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Hache?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes.
I move that ordinance 3620 be adopted on second reading and final publication as required by law.
Second.
Hache?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes. I move the clerk read ordinance 3621 by title on the second reading, and the public hearing thereon be open.
Second.
Hache?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh? And Newton.
Yes, will the clerk please read the title of ordinance 3621?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 265 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood Vehicles and Traffic at Section 265-52, Schedule 2, mid-block crosswalks, and Section 265-65, Schedule 15, parking prohibited at all times, and Section 265-67, Schedule 17, parking prohibited certain hours, and Section 265-69, Schedule 19, time limit parking.
Public hearing is now open. Move the public hearing be closed.
Hache?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes.
I move that ordinance 3621 be adopted on second reading and final publication as required by law.
In a second.
Second.
Hache?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes. Yeah. I move
Does
the
someone
clerk...
have a phone? That's usually a phone. If there's a phone on the desk, just be careful it's not.
Does somebody have a phone on
Okay.
in the audience? Anybody in the back, maybe? Whose phone is it? Oh, I think it's just, it sounds like it's just feedback.
It's weird. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, we're going back. Is it yours? Turn yours back on, I think. It's Councilwoman Walsh's microphone. Oops.
Oh, is it?
It is.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right. I move the clerk read ordinance 3622 by title on the second reading, and the public hearing thereon be open.
Second.
Hache? Seaton? Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes. Will the clerk please read the title of ordinance 3622?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 265 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, Vehicles and Traffic, at Section 265-59, Schedule 9, stop intersections, and at Section 265-60, Schedule 10, yield intersections.
Okay, now this is at Hope and Gilbert. So, the public hearing is now open.
Hi,
Okay.
Kimberly Kent, 365 Gilbert Street. First, I want to thank the council for receiving our many emails and concerns about our corner. As you're aware, it's a T, an X, not a T. And over the last 2 years, we've had 2 serious accidents on our corner, which in early 2000, I had requested that a stop sign be put on our street and a yield sign was put up instead of a stop sign. I didn't really follow through. And subsequent to that, we've had a couple accidents, and now we really feel as a community, as you can see, we're all here to support this, that we really want a stop sign on our street. People use it to cut off Maple, and there's a lot of and they go very fast, and it's very dangerous, and we have families that live on the corner, and the children that walk, sorry, I'm nervous, and the children that play on our block. So we'd like you to consider putting up a stop sign. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, I'm Kelly Brandt, 366 Gilbert Street. My family, we've lived here for 8 years, and upon moving onto the block, we were warned by residents such as Kimba Kent that had lived there before us of the dangers and to treat it as if it were a four-way stop sign. So we moved in knowing the dangers. However, most of the residents on our block, Tina used to live right here at this intersection, live there for a year or 2 or 3. It's primarily a rental street, so we can't reach everybody and alert them. So it would be much more responsible for the town just to go ahead and put a stop sign just to avoid the dangers. This is part of the route that my kids walk to school. They use this intersection, so I would really appreciate it for the safety of my family and for the residents on the block. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ras Johansson, 371 Gilbert. I just wanted to reiterate Kimber's point about people using it as a cutoff from Maple. They stop at Spring where there is a stop sign, but they think after that it's plain sailing. And my family was in the recent car accident, and thankfully everyone was okay, but hit through no fault of our own, and it could have been much, much, much worse. So thank you for considering this.
Thank you.
Lizette Ramos, 351 Gilbert Street. So I live right in the corner of Hope and Gilbert, on Gilbert, but on the corner, and there was a yield sign. And we have a lot of families with young children who live there. My 2 sons, right now with my husband, and they walk to school, and we tell our children everything you might tell your children, look before you go, make sure the car is the, driver in the car knows that you're going to be going there. But we can't prevent, carelessness. We can't prevent selfishness. We can't prevent people from speeding, which does happen. And like I said, we have a lot of young children who live there, who play there, who walk to school, use that to go to Spring, to go to Somerville. So I'd like to consider for the yield sign to be changed to the stop sign. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Eric Jones, 365 Gilbert. I've seen multiple people go through that yield sign like it's not even there. We have a lot of families, obviously. We don't need to keep saying that. But I personally pulled a couple of people out of not the most recent accident, but the one prior to that, with an elderly couple that ran the yield sign and hit I believe it was a pickup truck. And they got overturned sideways, fire trucks. It's a bad intersection. It needs a stop sign on both sides. There's a lot of families.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. So we heard we got the message, we have your emails, and we appreciate that you're being proactive and brought this to our attention. And for the kids, I hope you're learning a lot about how government operates tonight. So good job, patience. You're really good taking notes, right? So if there's no one else, I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Ashe?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Boyd?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Newton?
Yes.
I move that ordinance 3622 be adopted on second reading and final publication as required by law.
Second.
Ashe?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Boyd?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Newton?
Yes, and just for the record, how long does that take for the stop sign, just so they are aware it's not happening tomorrow?
It's 20 days until it's effective, so that means that it goes to the 28th of November, so it'll be sometime after the 28th. Okay?
So as soon as that time elapses, once it's done, that's when we can legally install the stop sign. So just a little more patience, and as soon as that's good, we're good. Okay?
Okay.
All right, very good. Now we're going on to our consent agenda.
Yes, the following resolutions numbered 17-336 through 17-364, with the exception of resolution number 17-360, which has been removed from the agenda, will be adopted by a consent agenda with one vote by the village council. They will be read by title only. Approve 2017 budget transfers. Authorize tax title lien premium to be deposited into general fund. Establish interest rate for non-payment of taxes and assessments for 2018 and set grace period. Establish interest rates for non-payment of other municipal liens for 2018 and set due date. Establish interest rates for delinquent payments for significant sewer discharger bills for 2018. Title 59 approval, refurbished leach body for sanitation vehicle. Award contract, refurbished leach body for sanitation vehicle. Award contract, disposal and recycling of vegetative waste. Award contract, emergency repair of grade and pool chlorination system. Award contract under state contract, portable emergency generator, water pollution control facility, and Ridgewood water. Award contract under state contract, steel dump body with salter, hydraulics, and snowplow, streets department. Award contract under National Joint Powers Alliance contract, F650 diesel crew cab chassis. Award contract under state contract, 2 loader truck snowplows and 2 sanitation truck snowplows. Award contract under Bergen County contract, Bobcat skid steer loader, street division. Award professional services contract, pediatrician for monthly child health conference. Award professional services contract, Valley Hospital Department of Community Health, Public Health and Nursing Services. Award professional services contract, software support for Finance Department. Approved shared services agreement, Child Health Conference, Fair Lawn and Glen Rock. Approved shared services agreement, TV inspection of sanitary sewer mains, Northwest Bergen County Utilities Authority. Title 59 approval, RFP for Hudson Street Parking Garage. Authorize cancellation of Public Assistance Trust Fund reserve balance. Authorize cancellation of grant reserve balance local bikeway grant. Authorize cancellation of general budget appropriation shared services agreement, Fleet Services, Washington Township. Authorize encroachment agreement, 115 Monte Vista Avenue. 360 was removed from the agenda. Endorse application for Community Development Block Grant, West Bergen Mental Health Care, Housing Specialist. Appoint members to Local Emergency Planning Committee. Accept donation of tree, Lester Stable, and approve Valley Hospital settlement agreement. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Hache?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh? And Knutson?
Yes.
Okay. The following resolutions, number 17-365 through 17-367, will be considered separately and read in full. Be resolved by the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood that the installation specifications and tree selections for the tree planting in various locations in the Village of Ridgewood, prepared and issued by the Village of Ridgewood Department of Public Works, Engineering Division, and the Village Department of Parks for quotes, being is hereby approved by the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood. This resolution is adopted pursuant to the authority of NJSA 59:4-6. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Hache?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh? And Knutson?
Yes.
Whereas the Village of Ridgewood solicited 4 reputable contractors for quotes and received 3 written responses. With the 4th contractor, the Village's 2017 paving contractor, J.A. Alexander, declining to provide a quote and saying they are not interested for the purchase and installation of 75 trees for the tree planting in various locations in the Village of Ridgewood project. And whereas the Village of Ridgewood has on its staff a New Jersey qualified purchasing agent, Stephen P. Sanzeri, who is authorized to approve purchases up to $40,000 without competitive bidding. Now therefore be it resolved by the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood that the purchase and installation of 75 trees for the tree planting in various locations in the Village of Ridgewood project be and is hereby awarded to the lowest quote received from Conquest Construction, Inc., 20 Carver Avenue, Westwood, New Jersey, in an amount not to exceed $26,250. And be it further resolved that the Chief Financial Officer has certified that funds are available in capital account number C-04-55-9BR-120, $21,350, and in Shade Tree Trust account number 7-14-56-887-098 for $4,900. May I have a motion?
Second.
Hache?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh? And Knutson?
Yes.
Be resolved by the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood that the mayor and the village manager are hereby authorized to enter into the first year of a 3-year shared services agreement with the Borough of Hawthorne for the winter 2017 to 2018 ice and snow control season, a true copy of which is attached here too, to supply the village's street division of the Department of Public Works with a brine solution in accordance with the terms and conditions of a shared services agreement and subject to adoption by the governing body of the Borough of Hawthorne of a resolution authorizing the agreement. I have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Hache?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh? And Newton.
Yes. Okay. And with that, we're moving back to comments from the public.
Good evening. Boyd Loving, 342 South Irving Street. I've just got a comment about 17-337. As I was sitting here, I took a look at it, and it kind of wondering why it took 5 years to discover that somebody owed us quite a bit of money. So then I took a look at the online property tax records posted by the Village of Ridgewood for that address, and I see that the address last sold in 1990, although it indicates here that it sold in 2012. So I'm wondering if the wrong address is listed within this resolution, or whether the village's tax records aren't being kept up to date, and the new owner has not been noted on the tax records for some reason. So, again, disturbed by a number of things. First of all, that amount of money could be owed the village, owed the taxpayers, for a 5-year period of time before somebody discovered it, and also why the information in this resolution doesn't match what the online tax records for the village say. So I would suppose that you might not have that information now, but I would ask that the manager could get back to me and let me know the answers to both of those questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is Saurabh Dani, 390 Bedford Road in Ridgewood. And I just wanted to bring up something that I have found confusing or inconsistent, and maybe just to bring to your attention. So, and I'll use 3 different examples to show 3 different scenarios. So we are bidding on a garage, and you guys approved the RFP for the garage at the council meeting. You discussed that last week, and then you approved that. So before that is going for the bids, you approved that, the specifications for the RFP. But there are 2 other instances that I have noticed that, for example, today you just approved a tree planting in various locations in the village of Ridgewood. The plan was approved today along with the bidder. So the plan was never approved by the council when the bids were sent out or the request was sent out. So this is different from how the RFP for garage is working. And in the similar scenario, there was a bid for firehouse roof replacement. The bid was issued on March 22nd, and it was discussed at a work session on May 3rd, that who are the bidders, but the plan was never discussed at a council meeting at a work session. But May 10th, you guys approved the plan. So either you can say, okay, we are not engineeringly qualified to approve the plans, so you don't even approve them. But if you're approving them after the bidder has already been selected, then to us it appears that the plan may have been altered to fit the bidder. Because it's different than how it's working for the garage. For the garage, the plan or RFP is approved, and then it goes for the bidding. But in case of firehouse roof, the plan already went out, and the plan was approved with the bidder. And similarly today, the tree planting plan is being approved when the bidder is approved. So it's not, in those 2 scenarios, it's not same. We are doing it differently. So I just wanted to bring to your attention.
Okay. Thank
Thank you.
So anyone else? Right. We're going to
Well, I'd like to just make comments.
Yeah,
if
so
we
we're
could.
I can address if you want to address the tree stuff, I can address the tree stuff.
Yeah, we're going to.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
All right.
Why don't we start with the tax title lien first?
We have to look into it. We don't have answers directly on that, but the way the process works with adjusting and perfecting liens as a result of non-payment of taxes, it doesn't necessarily deal with the amount, it deals with the number of quarters they are behind in terms of taxes. So we have to get a look at the record find out which were not paid, how many times it was not paid. And once they get to a certain point where they are so many quarters unpaid or not paid or not brought up to current status, then you can go out through the tax lien process and affect what we're doing now. So we have to take a look at that, but that's why the reason it looks like it's taken some time and the amounts out there. In fact, oftentimes you see tax liens with much more than $26,000. So, that's for many houses in this town, that's a year's worth, where you usually got to wait about 18 months before you can take that on. So we can get that information for you, but that's normally one of the reasons why it just doesn't always seem like it's automatic and immediate in terms of when the taxes aren't paid and when you can bring it out into a lien into the process.
But this particular one actually is allowing us to deposit it into the general fund budget because of the fact that it was purchased in 2012 as a lien and it hasn't been redeemed. And so since it hasn't been redeemed, it's a 5-year period that you have to wait. So if it hasn't been redeemed within 5 years, it can then revert to the general fund for the village. So that's what's happening with this resolution.
But again, the house shows it sold in 1990.
Okay. Right.
Now, the lien has been...
That's when the house
Right.
sold. That's really got nothing to do with, the lien is about unpaid taxes.
It's unpaid taxes. And so it's a lien against the unpaid taxes that was purchased by a third party.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
And the only thing I want to mention about the trees, and I'll let Councilman Seaton speak as well, obviously, but the Title 59 approval is not for the RFP. The Title 59 approval is, sorry about this, we don't have a cover on this. The Title 59 approval is regarding the protection that we have based on the RFP, but it's not authorizing the RFP to go out. So it's actually just something, wherever we write the specs, we put the Title 59 approval there so that if there is something that is perhaps, it's like an errors and omissions type thing, and this way it allows us to state that, the municipality is covered by Title 59 with those specifications. So it's not the RFP itself that we're approving. It's giving it Title 59, saying it's done in accordance with Title 59. Go ahead.
Thank you. And then what else happened with that is this is a new program this year. So when you pave a street, you do the curb work, you do any kind of drainage work, and now they're going to plant trees if there's a spot where a tree could fit or there's a spot where a tree was taken down several years ago. The paver was going to plant the tree, so that was all included in the original paving bid that we talked about months ago. For whatever reason, the person who had the contract who did the paving and the curb work and everything didn't want to do the trees, so we went out and got 3 separate quotes from someone else because the money was in the paving budget, and we wanted to plant the trees. We just had to find somebody to do it. So that's how this process came out. We got 3 quotes, and the lowest one is in line with what we usually pay to plant trees, and we're going to get them planted, so it should all work out.
Yeah, and then I'm just going to speak to how RFPs go out. Typically, the RFP for the garage was very different because we were kind of brainstorming and putting all of our ideas together, and it's been such a big issue. But I appreciate, and I know you and I have had this conversation, we've talked about it, we exchanged emails on it, and I think it's something that we're going to look at for the future, because all this time it never occurred to me what the suggestion is that could specifications be designed to get a particular bid or company to bid on it. That's a suggestion that's being made. I don't think that that's what's going on, but certainly something we can look at, including the resolutions, and Mr. Rob was kind enough to send me a link to resolutions from other municipalities that show all of the bids listed, and so you see who the highest bid is, you see how many bids, so the public actually sees that instantaneously, and I think it's a great point, and we certainly want that information out there. So much appreciated, and we're going to try and get that cleaned up too.
And Chris usually includes that in his memos. I mean, he
So
usually-
he's including it in the memos, but I think the difference was, and what Sir Rob emailed me today, is that actually in a physical resolution, what they're doing is they're listing all of the bids that were, so just, it's a short list, it just says company A, this amount, B, C, D, E. So you can actually see the amounts of the different bidders and then who it's being awarded to. So
And his concern and his question was to make sure that nothing was amiss or nothing was done outside the scope of looking at the best bidder. And I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that the council does get to see who the highest bidder was.
Yes, we see it.
Who the best bidder was before you make your decision.
Right, and I did explain that we see it in our background material, but the way this is, the layout of it is interesting and something we might want to take up for consideration, because I think it's a great idea. With that, we'll take a resolution to go into closed session.
Be it resolved by the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood that the Village Council meet in closed session on November 8th, 2017 at 8 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter on the agenda can be reached. And the said closed session be held in the caucus room on the 4th floor of the Ridgewood Village Hall, 131 North Maple Avenue, Ridgewood, New Jersey. Be it further resolved that the matters to be discussed in closed session are limited to legal matters to include Barrington Road, Ridgewood Water Lawsuit, Park Mobile Contract. These matters are allowable under NJSA 10:4-12 et sec, and be it further resolved that the minutes of this meeting shall be made available to the general public. When such matters have been deemed completed by resolution of the Village Council. May I have a motion?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you.
I know, mine's like this far.
Mine is eaten.